Alrighty, dudes and dudettes, welcome back to Custom Black Motorsports, and if you're new here, welcome. There's a lot of dudes out there that say dyno tuning is worthless, okay, and the dyno numbers are just for bragging rights, and it's worthless. Alright, so I have this question for you. Why does every big dog out there in racing either do engine dyno tuning, okay, or chassis dyno tuning? Right? Why do they do engine dyno tuning and why do they do chassis dyno tuning? Okay, why don't you explain that? All right, there's a lot of people out there that are making big horsepower, and we're not about to go out on the street and do street tuning, which takes forever with something that has big horsepower. It's not just a one and done deal. But if you do dyno tuning, usually it's a one and done deal. Okay, it's you're in a controlled environment. Okay, you can get it done, one and done, and you don't have to worry about your motor exploding. All right, a lot of people that I know that are doing remote tuning, bless their hearts. Okay, they don't have a dyno available, but they're doing street tuning non-stop, bro. Their tuner is not allowing them to really open up their motor. I always hear it's, I'm tuning, I'm still tuning, I'm still tuning, I'm still tuning, I'm still tuning. But if you had a dyno available, okay, and your tuner knew how to work with a dyno, you wouldn't be constantly tuning. Okay, that's how that works. Dyno tuning is really important. All right, if it wasn't important, all the big dogs wouldn't be doing it. All right, dynos wouldn't be so popular amongst the higher income individuals. I'm just gonna say that, dude. The higher income individual. Me, I went on a dyno. Right? I had dyno tuning. And a lot of dudes out there will say, hey, you know, you can go out there, you can do dyno tuning, you can make all the horsepower you want, but if you can't apply the horsepower to the wheels, all right, and get traction, then what does it mean? All right, so some of you guys saw some videos. I'm gonna show it here. Not me, not today. Holy crap. That's it for me, going home. Poop my pants again, that's great. That's great, poop my pants. Okay, we just saw that video right there. All right, I'm losing traction. Okay, a lot of dudes are like, you know, you're losing traction, you can't apply the power to the wheels. All right, but let's check out this video here when I actually go to the racetrack where the track is glued and I got it in four-wheel drive. Let's check that out.
Get out, go. I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on, go outside, nerd. Get out, go.
Yeah, so You guys out there have like this misconception on what's going on, you know, when it comes to tuning, all right, dyno tuning, street tuning, and stuff like that. It just makes a lot of us out there feel weird. I really feel that you've been duped. All right, somebody's telling you stories. You've heard the story so many times, and that you believe it. That you believe that dyno tuning and dyno numbers don't mean anything. Now look, if this vehicle here, right, if it made 600 horsepower before, and I did modifications to it, and then now I'm making 400 horsepower more than that, which is what's going on, okay, that means I'm gonna go faster in the quarter mile and in the eighth mile. All right, and I'm not worried about getting traction. Anybody that can't get traction at the racetrack, you know, you got a little problem that you need to work with. All right, you either need to get the right suspension, the right tires. Most of the time, it's the right tires. All right, you need to learn how to hook up. That's the deal. If you can't learn how to hook up, then that's your problem. That's not my problem. That's not everybody else's problem that's getting dyno tuning and stuff like that. All right. No disrespect to people doing street tunes, which is perfect for a lot of people. If you just got a cam, some headers or something like that, all right, you're doing the mild thing, that works out for you. But when you're around 1,000 horsepower to wheels, all right, and 1,200 crank horsepower, you're going to want to get on the dyno. Okay, you're going to want to make sure that everything is correct. All right, that's all there is to it. You can't sit there and mess around, and you can't sit there and make up stories saying that, oh, dyno numbers don't mean anything, they're just bragging rights and stuff like that. That's just kind of weird. All right, if you're not making big power, or you don't have a dyno available to you, of course you're going to be on Facebook listening to Facebook salesmen, all right, you know, telling you stories, because these Facebook salesmen want to sell you a remote tune. All right, but I can guarantee a lot of these Facebook salesmen, if they could, they would dyno tune your truck. They would dyno tune your car. All right, they wouldn't mess around with all the bull malarkey. All right, it's just like the dyno is just such a better controlled environment where they can see everything. They can see it all. Okay, all in one shot. All right, so my message is for you guys out there, stop believing people. Stop believing that dyno tuning is not efficient and dyno tuning is just some kind of a bragging rights type thing. No, that's not true, dude. It's cool that you're fast in the quarter mile. It's cool you're fast in the eighth mile. So am I. All right, there's not one truck out there like this. There's not one lifted crew cab 4th gen Ram truck 4x4 that's as fast as this with a 65 RP transmission. Not one on the planet. There's not one. And if you have that one, let's get it, buddy. Hot damn hell yeah, y'all the baddest. Get some.